name is Marjan. I'm going to set up my timer so I don't go over time. My name is Marjan. I have just recently graduated from Gender, Women, and Sexuality Studies department from the IAS, and prior to coming and being a GWSS student, I actually was pursuing a degree business. Like many of you, it's very important for me to be able to think about the future, the job that I want to do, and also being an immigrant originally from Iran, it was very important for me to think about the job and making sure that I make money so I can survive, pretty much. When I was applying for the UW School of Business, I realized that there is, you have to have, some of you might be familiar, you have to have two majors. One of the majors that I was going to choose, I looked in and I saw that there is a major called Gender, Women, and Sexuality Studies. And I wasn't familiar with that, and I actually didn't even know such a major even existed. And having a background from Iran, where I, as a woman, we have experienced a lot of, how do you say, more likely patriarchy and ability not to have voice our concern. So I was very much into understanding what does it offer to me. And so that's where I started to, I applied, I got into the school, and it was the right path for me, understanding not only social justice and also why was it important, why is it that I think most of us need to, if we have that kind of a background and knowledge, to get into this course. What it offered me was, and it was very interesting, was the ability to have the language. To be able to speak up the concerns that I have. Because a lot of times we might talk about social justice in a sense that, we have to vote for this, we have to, fight for this, but not having the ability to convey and talk about it in an academic way, or even concern through the eyes of a person who's lived it, the lived-in experience of the person, you might not get so far. So that's one of the main reasons why I chose this degree. And also, now I'm actually a graduate student and I'm pursuing master's in policy studies, which is even more important for me because my background and my knowledge of being in gender, women, and sexuality, learning about the gender justice, enables me to talk about the concerns that I have in a way that is understandable for many people across different sections. So that's all I wanted to share. And also, of course, Professor Shem is going to talk more about the details, and if you have any other questions. Yeah, thank you.
Marjan has to now go meet with her advisor in the Master's in Policy Studies program. The reason that she is here with us is because she's the student representative for GWSS. I'm Professor Julie Shane, and I'm faculty in IAS, and I'm faculty in FIP, and I teach one of the discovery course, and I see two of you. Oh, I see three. Who else is from our discovery core in here? Is it just three of you who were in my class? I was hoping to see more of you. Anyway, hi guys, I missed you so much. So I'm here to talk to you all about gender, women, sexuality studies. But before I go through my spiel, I'm wondering what all of you might think it is. What do you think we study? What do you think we do in our classes? Who might like our classes? What could you do with the major? Any thoughts? Just shout it out. What does it sound like? Take a guess. I suspect you didn't do much of it in high school, so I'm thinking most of you will just be guessing, which is totally fine. What does it sound like? What do you think? Yeah?
Maybe an exploration of all the different genders there are.
Okay, exploration of, and I like how you said all the different genders, so assuming we're a point of departure that it's more than just male and female. Yeah, that would be part of it, looking at gender as a topic to be studying. What else might we be studying in a gender, women, sexuality studies class? Who might be interested in it? What would you do with it? Why bother taking a GWSS class, do you think? Meet a diversity requirement, so from a very practical perspective, GWSS classes are handy moving towards graduation. no one can think of it, can't make a guess as to what might be something you study in a class that has gender, women, or sexuality in the title?
And how your gender affects how you're treated in society or your position in society?
Yeah, totally. So which would make that, then if you're going to be thinking about how you're treated in society based on your gender, then what you're getting at is power, right? There's an assumption there that people are treated differently because of their gender. That issue of power is central to all gender and women's sexuality studies. So, and if you're looking at questions, when you look at have the W in there, women, you're looking at women's history, things like that. So the classes, all our classes are very varied. So why do GWSS? Just look at the headlines. Just the headlines from one week. The headlines will tell you why we need it. I'm not going to read them because these are too disturbing. But the headlines will just tell you every day there is something happening in the world that is showing that women and other marginalized genders are being targeted. We have a Facebook page that I'm not going to open right now, but on the Facebook page there, I've asked some of our GWSS majors to talk a little bit about why they chose the major. And I'm going to send this around. These are just little excerpts of why people decided to major in GWSS, because people don't make the decision lightly, because obviously you don't do the major because I'm going to be a GWSS when I grow up. It doesn't sound quite as linear as majoring in business or computer science or something like that. So GWSS, it's interdisciplinary, like much of what happens at UWB, and we examine social and political reality shaped by gender, sexuality, and power, which is anything. I always tell students I can give you a gendered analysis of a pencil. You can't, everything is shaped by, we can understand anything through a lens of gender and power. We look at things at UWB, we look at it from a transnational perspective, meaning not just the United States, and an international perspective, meaning not just white. Race and class and sexuality are very important to our analysis as well. So we also look at history, or texts and histories that are looking at both the global north and south, and first and third world, and we look at gender and sexuality as they intersect with race, class, ethnicity, nation, ability, etc., etc. All of this looking at the importance of privilege and power. So the questions that you will see explicitly and implicitly in all of your GWSS classes is whose voices and histories are we not hearing and why? One of the things that I say in all of my classes, just because you haven't read women's histories before, that doesn't mean that women are not history makers. That just means that their histories have not been documented. Just because you haven't read African American histories doesn't mean they weren't making histories. That just means somebody was not documenting their histories, etc., etc. So it's not just about learning those histories, but it's also learning about why were their histories not being documented in the first place. So there's a lot of questions about power. Our classes also have a lot of community-based research, and we talk a lot about challenging the dominant ways of knowing and learning. And we have a lot of different types of texts, not just traditional textbooks, but fiction and ethnography, memoir, etc., etc. So GWS students come from all over the place. I think at their core, they're all committed to some form of social justice. It doesn't mean all of their jobs are going to be as activists, but at their core, they're motivated by social justice. They like being part of a community, and we've worked very hard. This is just our third year here, but just as the major began, even before it began, to create a community, not just a degree. Our majors are either are part of a marginalized community, or come from a background and wanted to feel validated and seen in the classroom, taking classes that are speaking to their own histories or your own histories, and want to work closely with the faculty. We have student representatives that we are collaborating with, or students that are interested in graduate school. We also have a minor and have a lot of students who are coming to us from STEM or business. I was with an accounting student last night who's a minor because she just feels like she needs more than just accounting intellectually just in the daytime, right? And or students in nursing and health studies or education who want to just add to the way they're studying. I personally believe, and I say this a gazillion times a day to my own students, to my own daughter and her high school friends, that you need to follow your passions in college. You need to be excited about the classes you go to. You need to be inspired. Think about what energizes you. What do you want to learn more about, right? Not just what you think is the right job to get, but what do you want to keep learning about? Are you excited to go to the class? I always say about Marjan, after the first class I had with her, that was her favorite class. Then she took another class with me, and that was her favorite class. And then she took another class with somebody else, and that was her favorite class. And then she took, and none of the topics were all over the place. And whichever class she was in, it was always her favorite class because she just loved learning everything new. And that's how you should feel about your classes. They should all be your favorite class. You should be excited to do the work, whatever major you end up. So GWSS, we collaborate, we're staff, faculty, and students who work together. We celebrate, we cry depending on what's happening in the news. We vent and we build community. Unfortunately, we lost our Dr. Chocolate. She's now in Africa, but we did have a professor who was literally, her nickname was Dr. Chocolate. We've had a student representative every year since we began, because students are really important to the major. And this is the faculty, some pictures of all of us together at different events or conferences at the Women's March, graduation, things like that. This is from the first year of graduation, and this is from the Latinx graduation, and this is one of the students from the Latinx graduation as well. This is a single mom from the first year, one of our first alums and stuff. So it's a very community-oriented group. We have an award that we created the first year, that this is basically an award for student activism. And these are some of our first 2 years winner. This student, actually, Michaela, she took the same discovery for that you all. So, there's a lot of collaborating between GWSS faculty with each other, GWSS faculty with our students. This is a chapter that three of my students wrote. 2 of them who also took that discovery course, well, actually, I didn't write it, they all wrote it. And this is an archive that is created by my students in one of the core GWSS classes. This is a class that's taught by one of our GWSS faculty and a student. There's a lot of collaboration. We like to be building these partnerships with our students and staff, librarians, faculty. We are very mindful that you need jobs, however. It's not just that we love what we're doing and we love working with all of you, but we also want you to go out and get jobs, and we want you to be able to tell your parents that there are jobs at the end of this degree, because there are. And so just last Wednesday, we had this big event about transforming activist learning into social justice careers. Whoops. And it was fantastic, and there was 3 of the alum are IUWB alum, and one was a gender women's studies person from University of Oregon. The 3 alum, they were not women's studies GWSS students because we didn't have the major while they were students. They would have been if they had started. And I'm anticipating doing this event probably like every 3 years, because it was a tremendous amount of work. I can't do it every year. And by the time, in 3 years, we will have GWS alum who will be on that panel. And we will be working with you all to get you jobs. And we have, just, can you show them this sheet? Last year I put this me and the other faculty put this together to show you all the types of skills that you get in the classes that are transferable skills to the real world, not just to be able to go out there and say, I know what gender is and I know I'm oppressed. It's not just about that, but you go to those who are interested. So students who want to pursue these various types of careers, I always tell students, anyone who's interested in any sort of graduate school should be considering GWSS, because if you are excited about your classes, you're going to do better in your classes, and if you do better in your classes, you're going to have a stronger grad school application, and you're going to get better letters of recommendation from your faculty. So that is always very key. But this information is actually from the College of Rockport at SUNY. We have the list of spring classes up here. Again, please only take these if you're interested. We'll leave some of them up here, or you can come talk to me. And I'm super excited. I told you all about this, our students last year, that I created this new class because I've been doing the discovery for I think 10 years or 11 or whatever it's been now. And it's my only 100 level class, and then I had to do 300, so I had to wait for so long to see the freshmen again. So I created this 200 level GWSS class that's called Rad Women in the Global South. And what I'm gonna, the main project that we're gonna do in this class is to create a zine based on these Rad Girls book, or Rad Women book, and we're gonna do biographies of Rad women or Rad non-binary folks in the Pacific Northwest and put it together as a zine. And I'm super excited about the project. So we weren't able to set up the registration so that only freshmen lower division students can register first, which means the upper division students are going to be able to register first. So if you are interested in it, grab it immediately, because the upper division students are going to be able to take the spots early. So don't take them before as soon as you can. I'm very, very excited about it. It will be a very fun class. So the material itself will be exciting. The assignment will be 200 level assignment. So we have our regular webpage, like regular UWB majors, and then I have a very active Facebook page that I post news all the time, and an Instagram account, and then there's me and Jessica, who's our IAS advisor, who helps you with all the technical stuff. So that's all I wanted to tell you with respect to the major, and then we also have the brochures. So I'll answer questions, or Jessica can answer questions as well. Nothing? Yes.
So there are careers after this major. Can you give us some examples?
I mean, people talk about this is sort of the general categories of it, but like some people will go into nonprofits, organizations, or as someone can go into business but want to have a better, focus more on small businesses and things like that. Some are going to go into law, some will go into the art sector. It's sort of like, it's not gender women's studies, sexuality studies equals job and gender. Like it's whatever the area is that you wanted to go into, it just gives you a lens and a way to be thinking about it in more broad terms. Or if you're going into nursing or healthcare, then you're more likely to be focusing on issues of inequity that focus on women that you or families that you haven't thought of in a good way. Yeah.
And I also want to point out is that, like, for me, a lot of times, like, I had questions or I wanted to know more, and my area of passion was like understanding about the background, immigrant Muslim women, for instance, to going through this course and understanding what kind of boundaries are there, right? What is the structure of violence? I don't know that. You don't know what you necessarily are passionate about until you are in a field that gives you and avails you. And so, because my passion was immigrant, so now I'm doing the food policy study, and where I get to have a project, a research that I get to actually work with some Muslim organization, because I had the background, I had the knowledge of understanding those barriers, and now I can implement it in policy, so I can go and change that. Does it make sense? So it's like, you might not necessarily know exactly what it is that you want until you are in there and understanding the language and the kind of how the whole system is at play. And then you can go pursue further education, or like in any organization you go. Because a lot of times right now in our society, it's understanding the background, understanding how you have to refer to a gender or a different, a person. It's important. And so that's where this will help you a lot.
Also, like, raise your hand if you know what you want to do after graduation. Okay. Somebody just throw something out there for me.
One of those.
Yeah, one of the people that raised their hand.
Like what we want to do our career wise.
Yeah, what you want to do for us.
I want to open my own private practice for psychology.
Okay.
I want to be a therapist.
So, other people in the room, do you think understanding power, privilege, race, gender would be helpful in that aspect of a career?
I do.
And do you think you could get into a psychology grad program with this major? Yeah, you could. And if you loved your classes in this major and you had a really strong GPA, that's going to help you get into grad school. And if you have the close faculty relationship that this major offers, you're going to get awesome letters of recommendation that are going to help you get into grad school. Shall we do another example? It's like stump the IS advisor. But I always told people to think about not necessarily like college isn't going to get you a job. College is going to be the way you explore to figure out what you want to do. And then once you figure that out, use college, use UW-Bothell, use the experiences here to get you ready for that next step. And I was a student that always knew exactly what I was going to do. I'm going to be a nurse. And then I worked in a hospital and I was like, nope, not going to be a nurse. And then I knew exactly that I wanted to do this. And it's through that trial and error, it's through experiential learning and internships that you really see where you fit and what you want to do. So I would say to you now, pursue what you're thinking, but know that that doesn't have to be your only path.
Did you really want to be a nurse? Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. And then I couldn't pass the math class to save myself. And when you come visit me, you'll be like, just watch me with my calculator with like 10 plus 10. What is that?
So another thing so the career event that we just did, I actually brought the programs, even though it already happened, just to give you a sense of what GWSS is doing for you all and trying to get new jobs, because we do want you to have jobs. That kind of to echo what Jessica was just saying, is that I totally concur that college is to get you to figure out what you're passionate about, which just helps you figure out what you want to be when you grow up, is the way I like to say it. And then UWB, there are so many people here who want to help you, put you in touch with the resources you need to do that. Internships are really important, and the GWSS faculty is one of the people who runs the internship program, the study abroads. We have a couple of GWSS faculty who run really cool study abroads. The career services, the program, or the event we just did was coordinated by Career Services University Center and GWSS. So we've got a lot of people who are trying to make all of this happen. So to me, it's just about, well, just take one of the classes, see how you feel about it, and it's going to make you want to take more. I'm confident that happen.